Yesterday we have learnt about the DOM, right? Document Object Model, and then we discussed about how normally we can automate a web application just by using VBScript, right? So without using automation tool, how normally we access the objects on the. Okay, so today we will see one more application, so that we can understand much better how normally we can automate the applications on the. Okay. So today we will take the application as it's virtuallylibrary.com, and then we are going to create a user. Okay, so click on users, and then we will enter all the mandatory details here, mandatory fields. Okay, and along with selecting the checkboxes and the button, and then we will click on register. Okay, so once we do this. We will continue further in case if time permits, and we will try with more examples. Okay. So first, what we need to do is we need to launch the application, and then we need to navigate to this particular URL, and then we need to click here and fill out all the details, right? And then let me do one thing first. Let me open this application in Chrome browser. For a while. The reason why we need in Chrome browser, because to access the DOM and all easily. Okay. So when you are opening in Internet Explorer, since it is an IE8, you don't have anything called inspect element or anything here. You have to go to the developer tools as we saw yesterday, and then we need to understand the structure of each and every element which is created. But when it comes to the Chrome, then you don't need to do that. Just right click on the inspect element, and it will automatically display the structure. So if you see here, this is the link. Okay. Okay. Now, first what we do is we will launch the Internet Explorer. Set I equals to create object. Internet Explorer dot application. Okay, so you launch the Internet Explorer. The reason why only Internet Explorer, because of VBScript. So generally VBScript is not much compatible with Chrome or the Firefox browsers, but VBScript is more comfortable and compatible with the Internet Explorer browser. But tool, when you are using automation tool and all, tools are compatible with the different browsers. They use a different language or technique inside. Okay, fine. Now once you launch the Internet Explorer, make this Internet Explorer as visible. Make this Internet Explorer as visible. Then what you have to do next? You have to navigate to specific URL. Either navigate and then navigate to a specific URL. But what we do is this time, instead of just automating this with hard-coded values, let's automate like real, how normally we automate. Then in the real, then the data and all will be keep changing every time, right? It's not the same data. Assume that this application is in QA, and the URL of this application is changing from one environment to another environment, dev or QA, like that. Then what I need to do is, instead of directly providing this URL here, okay, instead of directly providing the URL here, let us do one thing. We will use some Excel and all. Okay, so we use Excel and then we parameterize from Excel. Okay, so what I'll do is here, I'm just creating an Excel file. Okay, I'm using an Excel file, and I'll say here data is a sheet name, URL, this. As of now, let it be. Then now where we can save. So whereas let me get the path here. Okay, this is the path and let us save all the files here only. We already discussed about few things. I will say test data.xlsx. Okay. We are going to create more columns here based on whatever we get, one by one that we will be getting. So first what we'll do is, to get this, what we need to get the data from Excel, right? We need to get the data from Excel. How do we get the data from Excel? Generally we can use Excel.application. We have learned that how to get the data from Excel and all we have learned, right? The same thing that we do now, okay? But normally what we do, if you get the data from one by one, you get the data from one by one, one by one means one by one cell if you get, it takes a lot of time. So that's the reason what we do is, okay, instead of getting connecting to each cell every time and getting the data whenever required, all the data from Excel to array we will get it. Then we will deal with that array next time onwards. Then after, let me create two functions quickly, and one is to get the data from Excel to array, second one is from array to variable. Okay. So set OXL equals to create object Excel.application. Then set OWorkbook equals to OXL.workbook.open, and we have to give the file path. STR file path. Next, set OSheet equals to OWorkbook.worksheets of sheet name also will be the function argument. Then what I am doing is here I am declaring the variable, array variable dim, I'll say my data array. What I am doing here, I am declaring a dynamic array here. I am declaring a dynamic array. Then total rows equals to OSheet dot use range dot rows dot count. You know what is meant by that? What is meant by that? What we have written? Total number of rows in the Excel. Not in Excel, whatever the rows which are used. So this is total columns. Then what I am doing is here reading my data array of total rows minus 1 comma total. So first I am getting how many rows are there, how many columns are there, and then I am redefining the array size so that all the values will come into the. For I equals to 1 to total rows, for j equals to 1 to total columns. Then my data array of I minus 1 comma j minus 1. You know why I am using minus 1 here? Because I am starting the loop from 1, but array is depends on the array is a 0 based, right? Index always. Then it's a OSheet dot cells of I comma j. So when it is 0 comma 0 in the array, in Excel it will be 1 comma 1. So it will loop through all the rows and all the columns, retrieve the value from all the cells, and will be placed in respected index in the index sizes in the array. Now you can say O workbook dot close and O Excel dot get, and normally you have to do like this. Set OWB equals to nothing. Set OXL equals to nothing. You are just releasing the variables so that memory will be released. Script will be faster. Even though you close the but OWB and OXL memory will not be released. So if you have more variables used like this, then more memory will be occupied in the script and it may impact on the performance. So that's the reason if you give nothing, right, a variable set a variable equals to nothing, that means that you are releasing the memory, variable memory. That's what nothing means for. Then you can say function get data into array. This function we already seen earlier, so that I am going a little faster. Str sheet name. Then the function. That one function has been created here. Second function would be get data into variable. I mean from array. Get data from array. So now normally how the data will be coming, it will come as rows and the columns, right? First row will be column header. Even in the array also first row will be the column header. Now when I provide the column name, it has to find that column name, where exactly the column name is, and then it has to retrieve the data from that particular column from given row number. From given row number. Then how do we do that? Okay. Let me know if you are not able to understand this. What I will do for I equals to 0 to U-bound of my array. You can give any array name there, comma 2. You know what does it mean here? What is that U-bound of my array? U-bound of my array, comma 2. What is meant by that? Any idea? Dimension, upper bound of second dimension. This means, what is meant by second dimension? In a two-dimensional array, see, I am returning two-dimensional array here, right? So returning two-dimensional array, same array will be passed there. From this function, I will get the data, but this will be passed in an argument. Okay, so that's the reason I just given as my array. But while passing, we'll give the real array name there as an argument value. Okay, so what is meant by my array of comma 2 here? U-bound of my array comma 2. It is second dimension. What is meant by second dimension in two-dimensional array? Columns. Right? First dimension stands for rows and second dimension stands for columns. Okay. Now, why I am looping through first column to last column? 0 to U-bound of U-bound of array comma 2 means total columns. Then why I am looping through 0 to total columns? Because what we are going to do is now I'm providing the column name here actually as an input. I'm going to provide the column name as an input, and then I don't know where that column is exactly. Okay, what is the column number? So what we will do is, when I provide the column name there, this logic or that function should automatically search for that column in the array, and then it has to fetch the column number wherever the column is found, and then should fetch the data according to the row number whatever we provide. Then what we will do is, now str column header equals to my array of 0 comma. See, now you know what does it mean here? 0 means first row. First row and column number will be keep increasing 0 comma 0, 0 comma 1, 0 comma 2 and all. Why I am giving 0 for row number here? Because column headers will be there in the first row, so that I am getting only from first row. Then if str column header equals to str column name, so people may give in uppercase or lowercase, so that what I am doing is sometimes spaces also may be impacting, so that's the reason I'm just giving a space UKs alone. Fine. So if str column name, that whatever I give to an argument, I will pass this column name to a function argument, is matching with any of the column header which we are retrieving here, then str value equals to my array of int row number. Int row number also I will pass to the argument, first argument. If I pass int row number as 1, it will go to the second row. Second row is nothing but first data set. If I pass int row number as 2, it will go to the second data set, like that. Okay. Int row number and wherever the column is found. So C number, wherever the column is found. I will say bl col found equals to true. Before I start loop, say that bl column is found equals to false initial value. Then we say exit for then column equals to false. Then give a message box saying that given column str column name whatever you have provided but not found in Excel is checked. Just this or it was not affected. Some message box that you can give, and you need to close it, because if that column is not found, if you don't retrieve the data, then you will not be able to continue the remaining flow. But else, whatever that you are retrieving there. If column is not found, then display the message box and stop the execution. If the column is found, this is the function here. If the column is found, then it will retrieve the data here. Whatever the data that we are retrieving, assigning to the function. So that function can return the value. Arguments for this function will be array, from which array you want to get, comma, column name, from which column that you want to get, comma, row number, from which you want to get. So we have got two functions created. So normally the same functions we are going to use later. Right. Okay, so we have got two functions to get the data from Excel. There is the D, VBScript. Okay, fine. Next, what we do now? So we have created two functions, right? We'll say str file path equals to data file path. Str data file path equals to what is it? Test data.xlsx, right? Test data.xlsx. Okay. Good. Here are register data. Here are stands for array, just a naming convention please. Okay. So str get data into array, str data file path instead of str file path. Argument name is given as str file path, and argument value is this. Sheet name is nothing but, what is the sheet name that we have given? Data. So that what this function does, as soon as we execute this function, all the data will be coming into an array, this array. Okay, because this function is returning the array, but you are not assigned the return value. You have to assign the return value to the function. Got what I am saying here? The function can return the array as well. Okay, so after this it will get the data into this array. The function will return the array, and that array I am storing it in ARR register data. Next, what I am doing is, now once I get the data into array, now we can use this function to get the data from array to variable. Now my array is nothing but this column name, URL is a column name, data set, row number will be 1. When I pass 1, then it is a second row in the array. Normally first row is nothing but column headers, so I need to get the data from second row. Okay, so now here URL. It is launching, it is now getting to virtuallibrary.com. And tomorrow, in case if your application URL has been changed, what you do is, instead of going to the script, what you do is, you can just come here and then you can say http, I'll say enterprise.demo.rnhrm.com. I just changed the URL and let me rerun again. See, so without updating this, this is what the data parameterization means for. So what we have done now, I just stored the values in Excel and I am reading the values from Excel. Okay, so let us go back to our application. This is our application here. We are going to automate this. Next, what I need to do is, I need to verify whether it's navigated to the application, it's navigated to login page or not, login page of virtual library or home page of virtual library, right, as soon as I launch. So that's a validation. As soon as you launch the browser, validation will be whether it's navigated to a right page or not, or it's launched in the virtual library or not. Then how do we do that? Normally, whenever you want to validate whether the application is navigated to right page or not. Whenever you want to validate that, the simple thing that what you need to do is access any of the object or try to validate an object which comes only in that particular page. Okay, here when you say edit the username field comes only in the login page. If this username field or password or login button, whatever it is, or this is register link on the. So if this link or this field or this field or this field, any of this field displays in the application, that it's navigated to login page. So now what I will do is I will see if username is exist or not. If this username exists, then it is in right page. If the username does not exist, then it's not in the login page, right? If it is, when I navigate to this application, then if it navigated to a different page, and then this will not be displayed. If this is not displayed, that means it's a fail, right? A statement saying that okay, login page is not launched, because according to the validation, as soon as I launch the browser or as soon as I navigate to virtuallibrary.com, it has to load a login page of the application. Okay, Now what we do is, yesterday we were giving through the message boxes, right? But instead of using through message boxes, next what we do is we will have some reporting format kind of. Okay, so we will create one Excel report step by step. Whatever the actions that we are, creating, we will have step by step report in the Excel. Okay, reporting will be like this. Okay, step name. What is the step that you have performed? And status. Okay, pause or fail status and actual result, or we can have like this, expected result and actual result, what time that has been executed, that step has been executed. Getting what I am saying here? And then you have to write, in case if the step is passed, it will be like this. Launch the application and navigate to URL, something like that. If it is pass, then you write like this, pass, and then it should be if it is pass, then it should be in green. Then now expected result is application should be launched and login page should be loaded. The actual result would be application is launched and navigated to login page. Time means whatever the time, at what time that validation happened or execution happened, then that is the time that you need to provide. That's what I'm saying. So that's how we need to pass. So that's how normally we automate, not only just performing the events on all. You have to give a clear reporting and then data parameterization. I mean, you should work, script should work with the different sets of data, not the same data we use every time. Okay. Then how do we do that? First, we need to create this Excel. We are not we are not creating this Excel manually, and it has to create the Excel. So how do we do that? We create one more function. We create one more function here. Function name is create log file. First it will just initiate the log file and then we will be writing the report. That OXL equals to create object dot application overbook equals to OXL dot workbooks dot add this time, because we need to add a new workbook. Okay, in case if the workbook is already there, we need to create a new sheet in that, but that we will see slowly. That will become very complex later. If you implement that, that will become very complex. So that's the reason we will see them later one by one. Then next, what I do, set OSheet equals to overbook dot worksheets of. By default it will be creating like this: sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. Then what I need to do next is the name of the sheet should be name of the script, whatever I am executing. Okay. Then the question is now, how do we get the name of the file, VBS file, whatever we are executing? Sorry, no, that is in EFT, but here normally we can get the VBScript name. That gives the application name, sorry, the name of the file which is being executed. Script name. Okay, so not the name, script name it is. Let's see whether it will work or not. Oh, but that returns the name of the file. Earlier it was just written the some temporary file name it will create if you have not saved. So it returns as .vbs also, right? So that's the reason what I will do is just here. As of now, we will use this technique. I am splitting with the dot. I am taking the first one. So it will return two values. One is with extension, second one is the name, and I am taking the name. Of 0 means I am taking the name. So what we do is OC equals to OC.name. OC.name equals to 0. Then we need to create the table like this. Table will be first, okay, while initiating, right? So you have to create all these columns. Total 5 columns. So OC dot cells of 1 comma 1 dot value equals to first row first. Set name. Sorry? Here this is just a sample that I created. Original one will be created with that. That is only sample, that is all. Next one is status. Status. Which is that cells of 1 comma 3 dot value equals to expected result. OC dot cells of 1 comma 4 dot value equals to actual result. OC dot cells of 1 comma 5 dot value equals to execution right. So this is how you don't need to close this sheet and workbook and all because you are going to work with this, right? finalize log. Okay, so in the finalize log, we'll say sheet dot cells of. Let me do a click here. Let me know if you don't understand this. This is global variable. So as soon as we initiate that, the time will come into the DT start time. Cells of into row number comma 1, because we don't know how many rows will be created. That depends on the validation. So int row number will be passed through the global variable. Global, that value will be keep updating. If 5 validation rows are created, 5 rows are created in the Excel, then int row number should be passed as 6 automatically. Okay. Total time taken. So here again I am taking the time and total time equals to dreddy of second in seconds. I am taking the difference, and dt start time comma dt dreddy time. So since I need to access this dt start time has been initiated in initiate logic, so I need to pass that time from there to here. So that's the reason I used the dt start time as a global variable. But dt end time I will be using only in this function, so that I don't need to make the dt end time as a global variable. Then you can say you can pass total time here. Use some naming conventions. That's it. Then once you write the total time, then you can close the workbook and you can close the Excel file, and then set code equals to nothing, set code equals to nothing. Okay, so use all this Excel and all global variables. Then what are all the variables we have used? Excel comma overbook comma sheet comma str log file path. Str log file path would be the same location we will give. Same location and log file dot xls x. Before you close that, you need to save the workbook, right? Workbook dot save as your log file path. You are saving that and then you are closing it. So that is the finalizing log file. And int row number also is global variable, because int row number will be keep updating in other function. So if it will start writing the data from second row onwards. Why second row onwards? Because first row gone for column headers of the log, and starting from second row, it will be keep increasing. So next time when I call the same function, it should write in third row, fourth row, fifth row, like that. Okay. So the default value of int row number I will give as 2. Okay, I will give as 2. The next what I will do is I'll create one more function. So too many functions that we are creating, but this is how normally in the real world we do a lot of functions. For a very small thing, we create one function. Function and say write log. Then write log will be like this: str step name, str status, then str expected result, str actual result. Time will be automatically passed. Okay. Then you can say osheet dot cells of int row number comma 1 equal to step name. First column is step name, right? Second column is str status. Third one is expected result. Fourth one is actual result. And fifth one is why? Also time. What time it has been executed, it will just place that. And the next thing is here, in case if the status is passed, then this cell has to be in green. In case if the status is failed, that has to be in red, like that. Okay. If, or we can say like this, select case case of str status and select case pass. If you pass, then you can say this one, right? Dot. How do you change the background color? Interior. Dot color equals to VB green. Case failed. VB failed. Case warning, VB yellow. Otherwise, normal it would be. Let it be fine. Or VB message, I will give as blue. It is message, then I will say maybe blue. So it will write the report and then it will highlight the background color of cell. It depends on the pass or fail or anything. So it will be very clear. And once it writes the report, then row number will be automatically increased. So that next time when I call the same function, it will take the next row. So since it's a global variable, then it will be keep updating. So next time whenever I call the function, it is coming into the next row. Getting what I am saying here? Okay. Now start automating the application here. Created lot many functions, but that's unnecessary. That's how we write the programs and all. We don't directly write inside the program. Everything will be written in functions most of the times. All the common reusable things and all will be written in functions. This is the main reason why we discussed about the user-defined functions in the beginning before we started automation. Okay. So I'm navigating to the URL here. So next what I have to do, I need to verify whether this username field is exist or not, right? Okay. After navigating, first understand that how this username field looks like. What kind of attributes or what kind of properties that they are using. Right click, inspect element, and then this object, name as username, and there is no ID. Yesterday we are seeing ID attribute and all for HRM page, but there is no ID attribute. So they are using only type as text and the name as username and some other properties. So since there is no ID available, then we can't use get elements by ID can't be used. So we have to use get elements by name. Then we'll say you're right. Yeah. Set O username collection, because we are using get elements by name, so it will be written as a collection. Say ie.document dot get elements by name of username. Then how can we verify whether that field has been written or not? Sorry, any object is returned with that particular name or not? How do we do that? Yesterday when we used get element by ID, then what did we do? We used type name. So since it is an individual object, we can do that. But now, since it is returning as a collection, do one thing. If what is mean by length? It will return the count of items in the collection. So yesterday I told that normally when we use in files and all those things, we use the count. Count means okay, it will retrieve the count of items in a collection. But length means in the DOM we have no count method. We have to use length. Length nothing but it will return the count of the items in a collection. So you have to use length, no count method available in DOM. Remember that. If length is 0, okay, if the length is 0, what should we do? We have to write fail statement. But before that, first initiate the log file. Initiate log file so that log file will be created. So next we need to write function between this function is there, different function is there, different function is there. It should be ended. Yeah. So if length is 0, then call the function. What is that? Write log. Call write log. What is the step that we are performing? Launch the application. Status is, in case if the length is 0, fail. Your application was not launched or not navigated to login page. No, that's the expected result, right? Third argument is expected result. Expected result is application should be launched and navigated to login page. That's it. else call almost the same function this time. It should be pass. Actual result is application was launched and navigated to login page. Same. Okay, as expected. And in case if that is failed, right, you can't continue with the remaining piece of code. So as soon as this failed, step is failed, do one thing. Finalize the log file. Finalize the log file. And then wscript. You know what I am doing here? Stop the execution. wscript.quit means stopping the execution. What I am doing now, in case if that login page is not launched, I will not be able to continue with the remaining piece of code, right? So what I am doing, okay, after writing the fail statement, just finalize the report so that file will be saved, Excel file and the log file will be saved, and then stop the execution. If I directly stop the execution without calling a finalize log, file will not be saved, right? So save file and all is there in the finalize log. So if you don't save the file, then you will not be able to see the log. So that's the reason whenever it fails and before you stop the execution, you have to call that finalize log. Okay, mandatorily. Then at the end, before we stop the execution, also that will be the last step, finalize log. So that at the end also it will finalize. In case if script reaches to end, all the steps have been passed. It will be. Now let's see how it works. This is how normally we automate everything. Like we are going to. It has become little complex because of too many functions, but that is necessary for us. Okay, so what it says? Unspecified error. You know the reason why it is returning unspecified error? Yesterday we discussed that. Because not security, synchronization. Application was taking little time to load. Right? Application was taking little time to load when I navigate to the URL. But we are not waiting for any time, right? So we are not waiting any here, right? So we are not waiting for any time here. Immediately we are moving to the next line. So what it happens is, as soon as this method is executed, to execute this method, it will not make even a single second also. But application was taking little time to load the page completely. So by the time this method is executed, the page was not loaded. Okay, it was loading slowly. So that's the reason it's saying that it's not able to access the object. Unspecified error means there is some problem with the application or maybe from third party. Then now what you need to do? You need to introduce some synchronization there. So that means I need to ask my script saying that don't move to the next step until the navigation is completed. Then what I am doing is here creating one more function, save function sync page. End function. Okay. First we will wait for the default 5 seconds. Then do until Nanda.dreddy state equal to 4. You know what is meant by 4? 4 means complete. So once the navigation is completed, it returns 4. If the navigation is not completed, it will be returning 2 or 3 like that. So do until it returns 4. That means do until the navigation is completed. So whenever you have the navigations like this call synchronization. Then make the IE as a global variable. IE I am using inside. Okay. Now let's see whether it works or not. It's created the log file now. It says that it's passed. Okay, so it's passed and execution time is total time it has taken is 6 seconds to complete. Got? Okay, next. What should I do? Log file let me delete because we are not handling in case if the file also already exists. Then we are not handling that. We need to handle one by one we will see. Okay, next what I have to do is once I launch the browser, next thing is I need to click on register, right? Click on the register link. So register link, how it has been displayed here. Click here, and this also click here. You can see there are two links with the same name. Nothing but the text it is per link. And if you see this, actually, where is it? This one. This is the link. Okay, A. But if you look at this, we don't have any properties like we don't have a name or we don't have ID. So when we had name attribute or when we have name attribute, we can say get elements by name. But when we have ID attribute, then we can say get element by ID. But unfortunately, we don't have name and we don't have ID here. Then in this case, what will we do? Get element by tag name. But when I say get elements by tag name of A, then how many links it will return? Not only 2 links. You have many links here. Okay, this is another link. Okay, so this is another link here. So a lot of links it will return. But how can I specify only this link? I need to click on only this link. There is something called href here, right? If you look at this link, href is being varied from one link to another link. Here also, if you see that href is being varied. So what I will do is, okay, anyway, I cannot get the link directly by using href. We can get the element directly by name, or we can get the link by not only link, any object by ID directly. But other than this name or ID, if any other attribute is there, we can't directly get the object. Then in this case, what you do? First, you need to get the collection of those elements by using tag name, and then from each element we need to retrieve the href or any other attribute which makes unique identification, and then if that href or any other property value reaches to certain thing, then get that particular object. That's how we do that. Then how we can do retrieve it? Set O link collection equals to IE dot document dot get elements by tag name of A. So what I'm doing now, I'm getting all the links. Then if you want the count, then just say message box o link collection dot length, not count, it will be length. Then now what I will do is for I equals to 0 to next. What I'm doing, I'm just displaying the href value. Total 15 links are there. First one, it is empty. Second one, on click here. Third one is click forgot password. Mail to virtual library. You can see all the links href is being displayed. Right? Total it has taken 28 seconds this time because of message boxes and all this. So what should we do now? So this is a href, right? JavaScript. I'll click here. That's a href. So if the href equals to this, dot exit. But for this normally, instead of using this much every time, so you can write a function, small function. So what you do, click link by href. So when inside this you will write href, what is the href value, you pass to the argument so that you can deal with any link going forward. You got what I am saying here? Explain. That's how you deal whenever if the whenever the name or the ID are not available, name and ID are not available, then you can get elements by tag name and retrieve other attributes which makes the unique identification and deal with that. Okay, so we'll stop here today and tomorrow we will see the remaining. But we already actually started with the automation before the tool. That's how the real automation will happens. You have to create a clear reporting and you have to do the data parameterization and we need to implement a little bit of error handling techniques there. Okay, but only thing is now we are not using any tool. That's it. But we are still doing the automation. Okay. So that's how normally we use DOM. That's what the DOM means. But apart from DOM, we discussed about Excel and all. Just for repeating we already discussed about Excel, how we can create the functions and all. And we are just trying to repeat the concept so that you can understand much better and you can remember the things.